Welcome back to FryMinis. I'm Eric, and today we're talking about the saga of Arveiaturace, the kind of pre-painted mini. Before we get into it, I'd like to recognize our Spud Club Mini of the Month winner. Daly is actually our newest patron and knocked it out of the park with his three-headed troll from Reaper Bones 5 Kickstarter. If you'd like to have a chance at winning the next Mini of the Month, consider joining the Spud Club today. And as always, thank you to all of my patrons. This cat-sized ancient white dragon miniature has had one of the wildest launches ever. The first truly enormous dragon from WizKids Arveiaturace has made a huge splash in the mini community, coming in at $100. Aside from specialties like playsets or decorations, she held the title of the most expensive WizKids D&D single miniature, although the upcoming $400 Tiamat has demolished that record. The price point was pretty controversial despite her size. There's a very real fear of making miniatures inaccessible to a large portion of the D&D community or intimidating potential players. I recently did a video on this topic. Check it out for more detail. I've got a link in the description. Despite all of that, many collectors that ordered Arveiaturace, the white dragon, were shocked to find they had received Arveiaturace, a gray dragon.
It's all plastic. It's just plastic with a wash. There's like no paint on this thing. This is a $100 pre-painted mini.
Reports of the dragon being mostly unpainted immediately circulated. The teeth, eyes, and other accents were painted, but the actual white scale body was just gray plastic with a simple black wash. Rumors swirled that this was WizKids testing the market to see how much they could charge versus size and paint job complexity. WizKids executive producer Patrick O'Hagan quickly shared what had actually happened.
As you might imagine, making enormous miniatures is a lengthy process involving several rounds of revisions. In this case, a near-final prototype was inadvertently used as the factory's master reference, instead of the approved version.
Now, while I don't quite understand how no WizKids employees had inspected an example off the production line, I do believe Patrick, although I'm definitely getting some Creed vibes from the situation.
Every week I'm supposed to take 4 hours and do a quality spot check at the paper mill. And of course, the 1 year I blow it off, this happens.
WizKids also swiftly committed to replacement minis and updating quality control procedures, all great moves.
While this was a simple mistake, additional quality control measures are already in place to protect against this kind of issue happening again. Production of replacement dragons is already underway, and we're determining the most expedient way to get them distributed to those of you who've encountered one of the not quite white dragons.
Typically, the WizKids replacement program is actually pretty strict. You've usually got to either send in proof of destroying the mini or return it at your expense. This particular situation luckily was an exception. Simply submit a claim at win.wizkids.com/replacements with proof of purchase and wait for a replacement to arrive. Replacements began shipping 5 or 6 months after the initial release as the fixed miniatures were being produced. I waited until June 14th to submit my claim, and it arrived on July 30th. All right, let's do a quick unboxing. It's not a huge deal, but this box is a pain to open. It's got big flappy sides that get in the way. I'd have loved for it to open from the top, kind of like a treasure chest. The tail easily and solidly fits into the hole in the back for a very simple assembly. This thing is way too big to fit in my normal mini photo setup, but we can take a look at a few key shots. I've uploaded extremely high resolution images and made them available in the description for you to decide for yourself. The difference in person is absolutely apparent, but I think you can see it here still. In this photo of the head, do you see the glossy look on the left in the original? That's just plastic without paint. I do wonder why the fin remains white. The box art clearly shows it kind of pinkish. Back here in the haunches, you've got another good look at the differences between paint and the plastic. And I think the difference is very clear in this image of the wings. You might be looking at this and not seeing why this matters, and that's okay, I get it. I suspect the unpainted original would be totally fine for a lot of people and still work totally great in your game. The point of all of this is that it's $100 for a piece of painted plastic. It needs to be painted. This particular dragon happened to be white, but what if it was supposed to be red and it shipped without its red paint? I mean, I think you would have seen the problem then, right? So should you buy Arveiaturace 2.0? The sculpt is really great. The new paint job is good, but I wouldn't call it great. There is some sloppiness around anything that isn't white, and it would have been nice to see a little variation in white tones between the different scales or plates. If you want it as a collector's item for your shelf, it's great. For gameplay, that's a different call though. As most games historically don't get to the very high levels, you probably won't have much need for a gargantuan ancient white dragon. But when you do, this would be amazing to drop down on your table. Side note, the rider, no spoilers, and harness are removable. Here is my official FryMinis Fantabulous Mini Metric rating. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 on the sculpt. It's extremely detailed and thick enough to be durable at its weight. The pose is about as good as it could be for just standing there, but ultimately it's just hanging out. Paint is going to come in at 3 out of 5. It's exactly what I'd expect for WizKids, no more, no less. But she'll get a 5 for fun. It's just so cool to have such a massive mini. I love that she's compliant with her lore, which I'm doing my best not to discuss for spoilers, but can also be used as a generic ancient white dragon. So at 12 points, Arveiaturace will just sneak into a 4-star rank. I've got links in the description below for everything we've talked about. If you've enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.